Hey there, little mama. Welcome to the Moms Like Us Do Things Like This broadcast, and I am excited to be with you today. Let me ask you a question before we get to our special guest. Let me ask you this question. How much do you love to sleep? Like when you were a teenager, did you just love to sleep and that was the whole thing? And when you got married, you had long, luxurious mornings just hanging out with your man on Saturday and Sunday? Like sleep is important. Sleep is really good. Sleep is what we need. And I mean, studies have told us, haven't they, that how important sleep really is. What happened when you had a kid? What happened? Sleep kind of went out the window. And you thought, oh, well, I'll get some sleep. And maybe you're not. And maybe it's really hard because you're not. Well, today we're going to be talking with someone real special that is going to tell you all about how you can get the sleep that you need to be the mother that you want to be. So let's get started with our show. Whoop. There she is. Hide. That is our special guest. She's in the green room waiting to talk to you. Her name is Lydia. It's been quite a morning, y'all. Just saying. It's been really quite a morning. Sometimes we want to get things done fast and they don't go fast and we get super frustrated. Now, this morning I had to get a COVID test, a rapid test. We're going on vacation and I need one. And it just took longer than I thought it. And they weren't doing what I needed for them to do. And I was getting kind of frustrated. But I tried to calm down because I wanted to remember what I have that I'm going to talk to you about before I bring Lydia on. And this is it. When you first had your baby, did you notice that when you came home, people, like, the very first question they ask you after they ask how old the baby is or how much it weighed when it was born, did you notice that the very first thing they ask you is, are you getting enough sleep? How are you sleeping? How's the baby sleeping? Well, I want to tell you something. Right then and there, you have entered the not enough zone for a mom, because we start feeling like, oh my gosh, I should be doing this. This baby should be sleeping. I know I'm not sleeping. How am I going to do this? Like, the pressure starts piling up and we get more and more anxious because it's our very first really big challenge, getting that baby to sleep. And we have pressure on us to do it. And it reminded me that, I was in a hurry trying to get this COVID test. And I remember that was what it felt like. It felt like I had to hurry up and prove that I could take care of this baby. Now, you may not think that automatically in your head, but now that I mention it, don't you think that might be true? Yeah. The point is that we get in a hurry in our mothering, and mothering doesn't work that way. Do you remember the old song by Alabama? If you don't, you're going to have to go look it up. It's called I'm in a Hurry. And I'm in a hurry to get things done. I rush and rush until life's no fun. All I have to do is live and die. But I'm in a hurry and I have no clue why. And I thought about that today when I was thinking about the rush that we put ourselves in to get our children through the stages that they need to go through, like getting them to sleep through the night. I want to give you a really, really good tip. And if you got a pencil and paper, you might want to just grab it because you're going to want to write this down. Sweetheart, you can't live your mothering by the clock. You have to live it by the compass. You have to know where you're going and then see that you're going in the right direction. You can't be living and doing motherhood by a clock. Now, if you have a couple kids, you already know this. Like, every kid's different. Every kid takes a different stage. Some kids of your friends, you're going to start hanging out with mom friends and you're going to be saying, oh, My baby doesn't do that yet. My baby isn't sitting up yet. My baby isn't potty trained yet. Oh my gosh, Brett, my oldest took forever to potty train. I felt like the worst mother ever that I couldn't get this kid to go potty on a potty. But you know what? I was living by the clock, not by the compass. He was going in the right direction, and he was getting where he needed to go. And eventually he did go to the bathroom on that potty. Motherhood cannot be lived. It's a journey. It is not a destination. Once you get them to sleep through the night, there'll be a new thing they have to learn. And you can't be in a rush all the time. And you can't be frustrated that you're failing. I I know this. I don't have to wonder this. Every mother that I talk to, they don't want their marriages to fail. They want to be married 50 years and still have a good marriage. And they don't want to screw up their kids. That's what women want. That's it. I don't want to screw up my kids, and I want my marriage to last. And I bet you feel the same way too. We do this by allowing the journey to ebb and flow, to be going with the compass, not the clock. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't have plans, that you don't set goals. It doesn't mean that you don't have vision. You know, I teach that. I want you to have vision. It means that you need to have a compass and know the direction you're going. And one of the ways you do that is by learning different methods, different ways of doing things. Some things work, some things don't. I don't want to do this, I'd rather do this. And you learn those things from other people. And so you have to ask. But you know what? Sometimes we're really embarrassed because we think we should already know all of this. But you know what? None of us know it. Remember what I told you? Motherhood isn't a natural talent. It's a skill, sweetie, but you can learn it. You can learn it by watching programs like this and by contacting people like Lydia. Or you can join the academy, and month by month, you can be learning from the experts that are in there. Or you could, ask your mother. I know some moms don't want to ask their mom because they don't want their moms to know that they're failing. But trust me, your mom probably already knows what it feels like to have to struggle through things like this. So give her a chance. And there's always someone else that you can talk to. But talk to someone and get some advice. Motherhood is not a natural talent. It's a skill and you can learn it. Yes, you can. Go ahead, write that down again. So live your life on a journey with the compass going in the right direction, of course, but not by the clock, because motherhood is too sweet of a season to be spent rushing and stressed out all the time. And when you live by the compass, you can really enjoy the journey that you're on and know that every kid's different. Everything is different. New ideas come up here and there. There's always new gadgets to try, and there's always new people to help you. Okay, let me tell you, one of those people that I am bringing to you to have help you is my friend Lydia McNair. Now, Lydia is a really special friend of mine because I mentored Lydia for a long while. I'm still mentoring Lydia, but she's been a sleep coach for 6 years, and we were both laughing because it doesn't seem like it was that long. But we don't live by the clock, right? We live by a compass, and we know the direction we're going. And Lydia found that this was a passion of her to help moms get the sleep that they need by helping them get their babies to sleep. Lydia now lives in Texas near us, and I am super, super happy about that. And with her husband Justin and her two kids that are 8 and 3, which that surprises me too. They grow so fast. And Lydia has courses and she has videos, and her IG channel is really good. You'll really love the reels that she does and the Instagram TV that she does there. And one of the things that I love about Lydia is that she makes sourdough bread, and I haven't had it yet. But the next time she comes to my house, she's going to bring me some starters because she promised me. So let me bring on Lydia and see if she remembers she has to do that. Do you remember that?
Yes, I'm prepared. Next book club, I'm bringing it to you.
Yes. If you live in the Dallas area, you need to text me because we do a Moms Like Us book club once a month. We just read one book a month, and then we gather at my house. And yeah, so let me know if you want to do that. We quit doing it during COVID, but we've been doing it recently, and it's just been wonderful. We're so glad. And I'm excited for Lydia to be here with me. Okay, sweetie pie. I just told them
Yes.
everything about you that I
Yes.
love. Get this straight. Tell me, why did you decide to get into sleep
Yeah.
coaching, training? Because you're an expert
Yeah.
now.
I know, right? It's been so long. I feel like I've been saying 3 years, and then I was like, oh my gosh, it's 6 years now. So my daughter, who is 8, she's the one who really started it, and then my son fine tuned it. They were not naturally good sleepers, and I remember when Brinkley was born, she completely rocked our world. Like everybody said, oh, the first few months, it's fine. You just take them around, they sleep, eat, poop, like it's fine. But this child came out screaming and she didn't stop unless she was with me and only me. Nobody else could hold her. She wanted to nurse around the clock. And turns out she was tongue tied. So I was like bloody and scabbed and I had nothing. I didn't know what to do. So we just pushed through. It was really, really hard time. And so in the beginning, the only way she would sleep was on my chest. And I had had a C-section with her, so I couldn't really like get up and move. So I would literally just be like in my bed with pillows around me and she would sleep there. And that's where we just stayed for like 2 weeks. It was rough. And then as I could move better, we kind of figured out how to do this. And we kind of fell into an accidental kind of defensive like bed sharing situation because it was the only way she would sleep. And I'm not gonna leave my 2-week-old to scream and cry. So we just kind of did that. And I was fortunate to be in a community with other people who did bed share and were able to tell me how to do it safely and all of this. So we did that. And I kept thinking like, okay, she's a brand new baby. It's going to get better. Like she'll
Get
soon
it?
start. What?
I said, she'll get it.
Right. I was like, okay, in a few months, she'll start sleeping 3 or 4 hours at a time. And then it'll just kind of slowly increase and it'll get better. It never got better. And so the way it would go is after she was a few months old, I would start trying to put her in her crib. By 9 o'clock every night, she'd be in bed with us. And it wasn't even that I could put her to bed at 7 and then she would sleep till 9. No. Like I would put her to bed at 7 or 7:30, whatever time it was, and sit at the bottom of the stairs because it could be 10 minutes, maybe 30 or 45 minutes. She'd be up again. And I'd go back in and rock her back to sleep, put her down. And then again, it's minutes later. So it was both that and then the whole middle of the night thing. My husband is so supportive and so loving. He never blamed me. He never was like, oh, we've got to let her cry it out or anything like that. But at the same time, he didn't have a wife anymore. He didn't. It was, I was drained all day because all day it was me. All night it was me. My sleep was constantly interrupted. And then we couldn't even have a conversation, at the bare minimum. And so I remember having some like just kind of dark conversations with him because I felt like we were so disconnected and he didn't see me as his wife anymore. I was just the mother of his child and that was all. And so 18 months of this, and we did try different things, different methods. We would read a book. Someone would tell us, do this, do that. And we could never like stay consistent with it. And also her cries were so intense and it just didn't feel good. It just didn't feel good. So we would always
was that when she still had the tongue tie thing?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So when did you find that out? Like after the couple weeks?
She was over 1. And I remember being at like a breastfeeding support group and talking about like, she's still kind of nursing every 2 hours around the clock, day and night. I feel like this should maybe not be the case anymore. And they said, sometimes, toddlers will still want to nurse frequently, whatever, but she wasn't eating solids very much either. And so it turned, hello,
Keep talking.
it turned out, at that meeting, one of the leaders kind of saw her open her mouth or something and mentioned, that she was tongue tied. So we got that revised probably around 15 months, but still sleep had not improved. And so it was around 18 months that I hit a wall, and I still didn't want to do cry it out, but I felt like there had to be something that we could do to improve sleep. I wanted her out of my bed. I wanted to sleep all night and not wake up with back pain and sore hips, and kind of have my body back a little bit. And so I Googled and searched and discovered that there was a gentler method to sleep train, and a sleep coach who could kind of work with us and help us. And so I immediately jumped in, and it completely changed our lives, completely, just completely. And I remember in that group at that time, I was surrounded by two different groups of people, my like little crunchy friends that were like, oh, it's fine. This is normal. The kind of like yoga pants, mom bun. You just, you take a shower once a week if you're lucky, and you're just like, oh, you're wearing the badge of just like exhaustion. And like, I'm just a shell of myself. I mean, it's just terrible. And then on the other hand, it was like, oh, you just got to just lock her in a room, put earplugs in, and go sit in the basement. And like, it's fine. And I was like, neither one of those sound good to me. So when we discovered this, like I said, it changed our lives. And I started telling other people, like, you guys, you can do something. You can do something. And then it took a little while to be able to go through the training and all of that. So then I did that about a year and a half after that. And then I've been doing this ever since and just love it.
Well, I think that is that's about the time that I started hearing that because you went dark for a while, and because you were doing all of that stuff. Lydia, this is life-changing.
Yeah.
This is definitely life-changing. Tell the girls, what are some of the fundamentals? I know you can't teach everything that's in your course.
I can give the philosophy.
Yeah, that'd be great. The thing I want the girls that are watching today to know is that Lydia has a really great course that she's put together, and she also does coaching. And don't suffer. How wonderful would it have been for you to have met those people before then?
Right.
So, yeah, tell us the philosophy of it.
Yeah. Okay. So I think first, to help it make sense, I've got to give a little background. So if you think of, sleep trainers, or I'll just say sleep trainers, on a continuum, and on one side, you've got cry it out. Like Dr. Weiswolf, he's the father of cry it out. That's the true extinction. Put your baby to bed. Don't go back until the morning, no matter what. So you've got that on this side. And then next to him, you've got Ferber. That's touted as the more gentle option. That's the timed checks where you go in after 5 minutes and just, go to sleep, and you leave. And then it's 10 minutes and 15 minutes, and you keep increasing the time. So that's touted as more gentle. Then all the way on the other side, you've got Dr. Sears. That's the family bed, and we don't sleep train at all. We don't do anything. The baby will eventually, or I should say the child will eventually start sleeping through the night.
Because it is a child before it.
But right, it'll be 3, 4, 5, 6. I know people who have 8-year-olds still in their bed, and that's fine if that's what you want to do. But you don't have to if you don't want to. So, so you got that all the way on the other side, and then next to Dr. Sears is, if you're moms who've been struggling are going to maybe know these names. The No Cry Sleep Solution. That's Elizabeth Pantley. What she teaches is pick up, put down. Every time the baby cries, you pick them up. Then you put them down, then you pick them up. And so you can do that hundreds of times a night. And it can work for some babies, but for a lot of babies, it's like overstimulating and confusing because they're like, oh, it's over. No, it's not. It's over. No, and it's exhausting. It's crazy. It can be really hard for parents to stick with because it's not just like a 10-minute thing. And so I'm kind of right in the middle where we're not leaving them alone. It is a responsive method where So this is the philosophy. Anytime your baby's awake, anytime they're crying, a parent will be with them. They're not left alone to figure it out, but you're also not going to do it for them. So I say, like, you can comfort them, you can touch them. And I teach all the different things to do and watch out for and how to interpret their cries and what they're going to need, because every baby is different with what they will find comforting. So your job is not to get them to sleep. It's to help them know that they're not alone in it. They're struggling a little bit. They might be mad, a little bit confused, sure, but they're not going to be distressed like they are when you just put them in and leave. So it's the middle of the road option. Yeah. And then over time, usually about 2 weeks, you're helping them less and less as they are doing more and more on their own. And so it's a security and a confidence thing. Like they're confident and they know that, like, when they wake up, maybe they're a little scared or not sure what to do, you come, so they're not alone. And then they start gaining confidence because they're like, hey, I'm doing this. And you as the parent gain confidence because you're seeing your baby like actually learn what to do to help themselves back to sleep. Maybe it's play with their hair. My son used to like flick his ear. Some babies rub the sheet. Some throw their legs up and down. Like they kind of figure out what to do to get themselves comfortable. And they know that they're safe. And yeah, that's kind of the brief overview.
So what about the snuggle things? They
like
have to be able to? No,
or a DockATot.
The wraps, the things, the swaddlers.
Like so first of all,
because how can they like touch the stuff if they're swaddled like this?
That's great. So that's a really good point. I don't sleep train under 6 months. Those first 6 months are a different time. There are surely, like, you should be having a general loose routine, but there's so much that changes rapidly. The first 6 months, their brains are going crazy, just rapid growth. It's just not the time for most babies. You can still practice and, and different things like that, but it's not the time to formally make big changes like this.
I think that should be on the front of your website. Because so many moms, like I said, they feel that pressure as soon as they come home from the hospital.
Right.
Everybody's
Is it a good baby?
That's the very first thing. Yeah. Are they a good baby? Well, if they're crying, then they can't be a good baby. Like,
good baby. Right.
On. We're already starting to like do the whole performance, the performance thing.
Yes.
But people don't mean. I mean, they're just trying to make conversation.
Right.
They really are. I was really fortunate. I even hate to say it.
Don't hear, make me jealous. I still get jealous, get a little jealous when people are like, "Oh, my baby's been sleeping through the night since they were 2 months old."
No, Mallory was 2 weeks old. She slept not all the way through the night, but it was like 6 hours.
Oh my goodness!
Wow. And Brett slept. I mean, he was 2 months old. Max, like quickly. Like I didn't have any of this.
I didn't do anything.
And of course, my other two were adopted, so they came when they were older. They were sleeping through the night, and didn't wear diapers, so it was a really good deal. But then we had our grandson, and he had colic, and he couldn't sleep. So you were not just holding him because he couldn't sleep; you had to be moving and bouncing.
Right.
So how does this work for babies that have colic?
That's difficult. A lot of times, so usually that's the newborn stage.
Okay.
And so a lot of times it's just coping with it. Like it's just being real. There's not a magic pill. Making sure the baby is healthy, because sometimes that can be an underlying, condition or tongue tie or digestive issues. And so sometimes starting them on a probiotic can help. There's those types of things. That's not my area of expertise, but a lot of times it is just figuring out how to cope, getting help with things during the day. Maybe if you have a mom or a mother-in-law who can come help hold the baby so you can take a nap during the day, or a postpartum doula, or trading off times with your husband, things like that. And then honestly, I know a lot of people kind of are shocked that I say this, but sometimes learning how to keep the baby close to you, bed share safely for those months, because you've just got to survive. You've just kind of got to get through it until the worst of that is over. And then they're ready to learn this. The same thing goes for reflux babies. because those babies, I've got someone right now that I was working with who's, they're refluxy, and so you have to hold them upright after they eat, so
Right.
they fall asleep like that, and they're used to that, and and then when the worst of it is over, now they're so used to that, and that's okay because you did what you had to do to help your baby. They really needed your help. There's no way you can't train out of reflux. You can't train out of colic. You just have to get through it, and it stinks, but it's just the reality for some babies and
Yeah.
families.
And I think that again is one of the best things for a mom to be able to communicate to someone or to know is that
Yeah.
this is again, it's a journey. You are going to go by a compass. You are heading in the right direction.
Right.
It is the reason why God gave babies to moms because we literally will not go with sleep to take
Right.
care of our babies. Isn't that
Right.
interesting? It's so
Right.
interesting how that bonding takes place, and you're not a grown up babysitter, and
Hmm.
you don't feel like it either. Like
Yeah.
there's a chemical. Well, this
Yes.
isn't maybe it's
It
scientific
is.
that there's a chemical reaction in your brain, and different hormones are released, and babies do feel the absence of their mother,
Oh
and
yeah.
when they're under stress, it's very very difficult.
Yeah.
Um, I talk
Yeah.
about Erica's book, Erica Cosmere book. It's called Being There. Why
Mm. Oh right.
prioritizing the first 3 years is so, I guess it's vital.
Yeah.
And the CAT
Yeah.
scans that they do on kids when
Yeah.
their mom isn't there.
Mm.
And so, yeah. So when you like, what is the worst situation that you have found a mom in besides
So
yourself? That sounded pretty bad.
besides my own,
Besides your own, just
which
saying.
honestly, I help a lot of people in a similar situation to myself, and a lot of times they're almost like embarrassed to tell me. And so that's one of the things I try to put out there. Like there's no judgment if you tell me you're nursing your 18-month-old or they're still in your bed or your 2-year old. There really isn't. I understand. So that would probably be one of the worst and one of the best kind of success stories. This
Mm.
was several years ago, and it was, gosh, I'm trying to remember if he was right at 2 or maybe almost 2.5, and in his parents' bed, up every 2 hours or less.
Oh,
And they were just, as you can imagine, just beside themselves and desperate. And I think I have her testimonial on my website, I think. But they worked with me privately, so you can work with me privately or my course, and because it was such a deep, so many layers and deep things, and so yeah, they went through the process, and they put him to bed in his own crib, and he sleeps all night now. Just it's such a drastic difference, and so much so that things changed. That then they had a second and kind of reached out to me again to be like, okay,
like,
we want to make
why?
sure
What were you
we know
thinking?
what to do, and make sure we don't end up there again. But yeah, I mean, there really is a lot like that, and I feel like when you're going through it, and it seems like everybody around you doesn't have the same, they're not, it's, you feel alone. You feel like it's only me. And like you were saying in the beginning, like you're doing something wrong, you're failing. And so I want to help those moms. Like, you're not failing. You don't know what to do. Let me help you. And so many times you hear all these different, ideas or thoughts, or like we did. Like we tried cried out for a little bit. We tried the Ferber thing. We tried having her sleep on a floor bed. We tried cuddling her to sleep. We tried every different scenario. And because we only had like this much of the information from either reading a book or a friend telling us, like we didn't have the full plan. We didn't know what to expect. We didn't know what this means and what that, like all the nitty gritty stuff. Because while it is like simple steps, there's a lot that goes into it and a lot that can change. Like, I don't have a generic plan. I teach all the information and then help you kind of come up with a plan that's going to work for your baby. And whatever often what we think will work often doesn't. And so we have to tweak it and change it. And so I want to equip parents, moms mostly, to know, to become the expert on their baby so they know what time that baby needs to go to bed. Not because I said 7 o'clock. Maybe your baby doesn't need to go to bed till 8, or maybe it's 8:30. Like you've got to really like apply everything, put it through your own motherhood and your own instincts, and you will see what works best for your baby.
I cannot imagine having to do that all by yourself.
Yeah.
Or for moms that work. What happens to the moms that work and they're gone all day and they have to do that?
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely harder with working moms because they can control a lot that's happening during the day. They're kind of at the mercy of daycare. And so it is more difficult. And sometimes progress isn't perfect. Sometimes we make some progress and it's sustainable. You know, it may not be perfect, but
Yeah.
we do the best we can. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely harder.
And then they don't
Definitely.
get any sleep because they
Yeah.
can't just nap. They're napping at
Yeah.
their
They can't recover during the day.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true. They're recovering during the day. And that
Yeah.
is for all the moms that I coach, even when they're not having sleep problems, I encourage them to rest during the day. Like
Right.
try to take a nap. Some moms just say, I can't take a nap. I know
Yeah.
they're in the house and they could wake up and walk out the door. You know, we have those things in
Right.
our mind. But
Right.
we as moms, because what we do is so highly emotional,
Mm,
it's relational, and it's so fluid.
yeah.
This is what I think we're not getting, or we
Mhm.
think that everything can just be okay. I have a schedule, we're going to go to the park, we're going to do this, we're going to do that.
Mhm.
Kids are fluid and
Right.
we're constantly readapting, and that takes
Yes.
a lot of mental energy. um,
Yes.
and so I encourage my moms to, like, I think self-care is really, really important. um,
Mhm.
it can be overemphasized because
Yeah.
some moms will just stay in their mess and
Mm,
just become, overwhelmed and just throw their hands in the air and say, this is
right.
just what it is. I hate it. And I can't
Right.
wait till this is over. And then they miss it.
Right.
And there's just really no reason to have that
Yeah.
happen. Wow. That is
Yeah.
something else.
So
So I know, are you still doing personal coaching with
I
people that
do
have
on a
gotten,
very limited basis.
yeah.
It's most people. My course will be enough for them, but they can add on calls. So a lot of people do like a hybrid where they'll do the course and then they add on 3 calls or 4 calls or something like that, and so that they get that personalization. But it's also much more budget friendly to do it that way
Yeah.
than the full private. So
Right. Wow.
yeah,
Well, my gosh, I'm just,
yeah,
I wish that I had that when I was a young mom, even though my kids slept really well. But there was still the 2-year-old that wouldn't stay in bed,
right, right,
you
right.
know? And
Yeah,
then what, you're popping his little leg and
yeah,
it's all he wants to do is be with you because he's
right,
whatever.
right, right.
It's the need for children to be with their moms until 3. Now that I've seen the research, I want to shout it from the rooftop. And
Yeah,
just the thought of, those different methods don't help that at all.
no, no.
And I'm so grateful that you have found that middle ground where you can adjust to help people. What you
Yeah,
do, Lydia, is really important. It really is. I believe that God has put that in your heart for you to, and given you, I know it's passion for you because I know you, but
yeah,
um,
yeah,
I'm super proud of you that you've pressed through and you've learned how to have an online business and you have not sacrificed your family.
yeah.
And if I saw that, I'd probably get on the horn with you. Um,
A
but
lot of
I'm,
times that means slower growth because I still have my kids with me at home, but that's
but,
the most important thing.
right, it is. And
Yeah,
it is the most valuable thing. And we live by a compass, not a clock, right? Yeah.
that's good.
Well, thank you so much for being with us today. I'm so grateful. Tell everybody where they can get your course and all that other stuff. I'll have it in
Yes.
the show notes, but
Okay, and I actually I have a surprise. So my website, my website is where you can get my course or read more about me, gentlelevingsleep.com. And then also my free Facebook group, Gentle Loving Sleep. So, but make sure it's the group, not the page. And then for people, your listeners here, so my course is already super ridiculously affordable. It's $99.
yeah,
But for your people, I have a coupon code for 20% off. So
whoa.
anybody who watches this and thinks they might want to give it a try, they can use that code. I'll give that to
Okay.
you when we're done.
You give that to me. That would be amazing. Thank you so much, Lydia.
You're
Okay.
welcome.
I will talk to you later. We'll be doing a book club before we know it. Bye. Okay. This is a big deal, little mama. Being able to get your baby to sleep and knowing that you are still connecting with them and you're doing the best that you can for them is a big deal. I hope that you'll get some of Lydia's stuff and get in contact with her. I know it's hard being a mom. It really is. But you know what? It doesn't have to be. You can find a way to get over each hurdle and each challenge that comes your way. And you can find it by finding people like Lydia, like I told you, and like there's the Moms Like Us Academy, which there'll be a link below for that. We have experts every month that come on. It could be everything from how to give your husband a massage to how to budget your money together and not fight. Like it can be just about anything. And we're here to help. So if you have questions for Lydia or for me, you can put them in the comments below. And I just thank you again for hanging out with us on this live show because you know what? Moms like us, we do things like this. We learn how to help our babies get to sleep. And we remember that we should live by a compass and not a clock. That's it. Bye for now, and I will see you next time on the show.